Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ron Tiger. I'm here with Billy. We want to have a conversation about what is actually happening in the world because we figured there's a lot of confusion, especially among young people in our country, Kenya. They don't understand where this AI thing is going. They don't understand what the geopolitical implications of countries like the United States and Russia or China mean to us. And they're obviously, of course, questioning the credibility of their future, the credibility of where their lives are going, so to speak. So we figured we should have this conversation with Frank Odili, and I'll allow him to introduce himself to us, to you, so that we can start. Karibu sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Joram. First of all, before I introduce myself, I want to take myself a bit down. You are giving me a big platform that I don't think I deserve to hold. I don't think I know so much in the world, and I don't think I have so much knowledge. Actually, I think one of the things I've realized is that the more you read, the more you research, the more you know that you don't know.
True, very true.
Yeah, so I'm just a curious mind. I can't claim to be an expert in anything, just curious. And it's my curiosity that has brought me here. And if it shall kill me, like curiosity kills the cat, so be it. So my name is Frank Odili. I was a student at Kenyatta University. I served as academic secretary between 2020 and between 2019 and 2020. I served as president and chairman of KYU, so from 2020 to 2021, and I'm currently out of school. I'm a citizen.
I like how you put that you're a citizen.
I think that's enough for you. Everything I'm left out.
I think that's a proper introduction.
Yes.
Part of the reason I say I invited you here is because we share a lot in common as far as our vision for the world and how we view our generation. And that introduction was very humble, as it should be, honestly. And I'm grateful to have you here. So I want us to have a conversation that's delving across a couple of different topics. I want us to talk about the geopolitics of the world today. Then we will talk about the fourth industrial revolution. Then we branch that to discussing the fifth industrial revolution. Of course, I am sure in the audience, a lot of us don't really know what these things are. Then we'll shift kidogo to something that is more, something we have more in common, which is philosophy. So we'll talk a bit about modernist philosophy and postmodern philosophy, and the real implications they're having in the world today. Then finally, we will hear your perspective on the direction young people are taking, and the direction, the areas where you think they may be going wrong or they need to improve, or the areas where they're going right. So to begin with, I want to start with my first question, which is what are some of the things that are happening in the world that we are missing as young people, especially in a geopolitical sense? That's the first question. So what are some of the things we're really missing?
Well, those are very interesting things to discuss. And I wish we could reverse those questions. We could reverse this discussion. The thing we want to discuss last, I think will be more interesting and relevant, especially to us as youths in Kenya.
Yeah.
Anyway, The platform is yours. I'll go according to how you want. So, number one, I'll start by saying that my ideas here and the answers that I'll give here are based on, number one, the news, what I see in the news. Number two, the research, what is happening in the research space right now. Number three, my thoughts, what I think. I welcome your audience to challenge these things, either directly to you, those who can access you, directly to me, those who can access me, or in the comments on whatever platform you're going to post this. So, the next thing I will say is that most of us, the youth today, do not pay attention to geopolitics. And I cannot blame us for that. I mean, life is so hard.
Yeah, true.
People don't have enough time to go listening to Trump, trying to know what's happening in Russia. People are trying to get jobs. People are trying to survive. Sadly, that is the situation that the youth is currently. So, things are happening daily. Things are happening daily in geopolitics, and I think the biggest thing in geopolitics today is the war between Ukraine and Russia, because there is a plan that Trump had for Ukraine that Ukraine is failing to abide by, and actually the biggest opponent to Vladimir Putin today is Macron. And by yesterday, things are escalating. And from my thought, I think very soon we may see conflict between France and Russia.
Well, to reference that to the audience, Macron is Emmanuel Macron, the French president.
Oh, fine. Thank you. I'll try explaining everything to detail.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing in geopolitics right now. The EU is about to fight with Russia. And for context, I would take Russia's side, because from history we know that during Cold War there were two organizations. We had the NATO, which is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and that one was for the capitalists.
It's a defense part.
Yes, it was for the capitalists. US, European Union, where we have the UK, we have France, and all those other European nations. And then we had the Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact was for the communists. Russia, we had Cuba, and at the end of Cold War, the Warsaw Pact was dissolved, but NATO remained. But there were conditions. NATO was not to expand its members any larger than it was at that point. They violated that.
Yeah, it's not something
they violated that. What is happening between Ukraine and Russia today is what happened between Cuba and the US. From the map of the world, you see where Cuba is.
Yeah.
Basically, from that sphere, America expected to have Cuba as a capitalist country, not a communist country. The moment Cuba became a communist country, then we had the Cuba Missile Crisis. And that is what they're doing today. What the United States is trying to do today, and why Putin has been fighting, they want to have Ukraine as a member of NATO. And NATO is not just, NATO is in charge of war. They're in charge of the weapons. They give their members weapons.
Yes.
They protect each other. And most importantly, the reason as to why Putin is fighting is NATO is intelligence. War intelligence. It means we know the US. The US is interested in dominating the world. They want to be the best. And they have overturned many governments, even in Africa. Recently, you saw from CIA files that the CIA was responsible for the death of Patrick Lumumba of Congo. CIA was responsible for that.
Yeah.
And they have been responsible for many regime changes. So the moment Ukraine will join NATO, it means, and Ukraine and Russia have a border, it means now Putin has an enemy at the border. That is why he's fighting. And some of the impacts that this thing have had, before I go to the impacts, I get most of my information I get from, especially Jeffrey Sachs. There's a professor called Professor Jeffrey Sachs. You can look him up in the internet, in YouTube. Kind of have detailed analysis of geopolitics,
Okay.
especially on the war in Ukraine. There was war in Ukraine in 2014, and there's a war now. If you're interested in...
Oh yeah, when they captured the Crimea.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're interested in getting further information, you can look for Jeffrey Sachs. This thing has an impact. For instance, Russia has been the biggest supplier, for instance, of grain in the world. They have been the biggest supplier of fertilizer. They have been the biggest supplier of oil. The oil we have in Europe is most of it comes from Russia.
Sure.
Yeah, so that is why you saw at the height of this war, there were drastic fluctuations in the prices of fuel, even in the country.
Yeah.
Because that oil chain was affected. Number two, what is going on again in the world is AI war. So here we have, I'm trying to divide it into four parts. We have Russia going head on with the European Union in a military combat. Then we have the United States going head on with China in AI war. And they're trying to bring up regulation. What I've tried to understand is that we Africans normally our politicians, our legislators rarely come up with authentic regulations and laws, especially on things that come from foreign technologies like AI. AI did not start in Africa.
Sure.
So therefore it means when the government wants to regulate artificial intelligence, they will refer to what countries that have developed in AI do. We had Trump signing an executive order on 11th of this month on AI regulation at state level. Is trying to achieve a centralized regulation of artificial intelligence to be able to collect the resources together and beat China in the AI wars. It's a very big conversation because AI regulation and AI itself are different things. Because artificial intelligence, I believe, and I know it's a controversial belief, that at one point AI is going to be more intelligent than all of us. Because we are giving AI everything we have. And a good example is, look at ChatGPT today. Can you say you're smarter than ChatGPT? You're not.
It depends on what you define as smart.
Okay, this is a good challenge. How do you define smartness?
I think smartness is defined by psychological depth. So what I can say ChatGPT has beat me at is being able to access a lot of information very quickly, as opposed to its ability to think.
Yes, yes.
Because if it was smarter, then it will give me a prompt and it will always be correct.
Yes.
But oftentimes, it will give me a prompt and I'm like,
Answer it. Okay. What I mean is, the world is mainly run on resources, right?
yeah,
And in resources allocation, we usually use predetermined processes. We really think. We think first, then we execute. But what do we do when we think? We record what we think, then we execute. For instance, today, if I wanted to build this house in a way that will make it sensitive to temperature, I will not think about that. I'll just go to the internet and find out what materials do I need to use.
man.
And now I don't go to Google, I go to ChatGPT. So between me and ChatGPT, who knows that? It knows before I know. I know from it. It teaches me. It doesn't learn. It is learning from me. AI is still learning from us.
Yeah.
But it will learn from us to an extent that it will beat us, especially with the approach that it is being developed from right now. These companies are competing to get what is called AGI, artificial general intelligence, an autonomous system that does not need humans. Imagine ChatGPT operating autonomously in a way that it doesn't need you. And then now we have this because we are also seeing the rise of robots. There's a company that is integrating artificial intelligence into their robots. That's far from what you're asking. So from geopolitics, right now we have the war in Russia, which is affecting us here based on what we import. We import many things we used to import, and that is why geopolitics affect us. We import many things. We import machinery that we use. We import oil, and we discovered oil in Turkana. I don't know why they're not asking questions about that oil.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back.
What we know right now is we are importing oil, and the moment there's instability in geopolitics, this one affects our consumption so much. The moment oil is expensive, that one makes production expensive because it is oil that is used in the industries for production. This comes down to even simple things like tea. The sugar you use in tea is produced in the industry where they use oil. If that oil is, who pays for it? You pay for it when you buy. The prices go up.
Sure.
That's an example. Bread, almost everything we use daily. That's number one. Number two, AI. AI is revolutionizing how things are done significantly. And AI is the only technology that, if you look at the startups, look at something like Scale AI, which most of you know. Scale AI is the mother company for Outlier. Outlier. Look at companies that form kama Handshake. Look at Maker. These companies, if you look at them, the way they have grown, and you look at the conventional, the established predictions on how a company should grow, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's astronomical.
Yes, AI companies you can start an AI company today, and that company will be worth billions in next year. That was not normal before the technology. So what I usually say is that anyone who is not paying attention to artificial intelligence right now risks missing out. In the next phase. In short, we are still in the phase of the fourth industrial revolution, and it is in artificial intelligence that will take us to the fifth industrial revolution.
Sure.
Just the same way the internet took us from the third industrial revolution to the fourth industrial revolution. Is that simple?
I think I can do a summarized of everything you've said.
Yes.
The biggest thing we should be looking at right now is the war between Ukraine and Russia, which is in its second phase. And the reason why it should matter to us is one, it affects the stability of the world in general from a defense perspective, and two, it affects the world in terms of supply chain when it comes to things like the fact that Russia influences or rather produces a lot of the oil that is used in the world, specifically the oil we use in the country. So when it comes to prices of commodities, transport, the reason these prices keep changing has a lot to do with Russia and that war. The other is the war between the United States of America and China that is founded on artificial intelligence, and how artificial intelligence is going to revolutionize the next phase for humanity. I think something I can add is the US-China trade wars, where we're experiencing things that are called tariffs. Tariffs are simply charges for importing commodities, or rather bringing commodities into a country. So they are also affecting the global supply chain. Because partly why we felt the need to ask this question is because the world is very global right now. Because I think a phrase that is mostly popularized is the world has become a small village. You can access anyone from
interconnected village.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think it's partly why these things should matter to you as a young person. They should matter to me and to pretty much everyone who is young. I also think that applies when it comes to investment.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to build a company and you're expecting it, especially to young founders, and you're expecting it's going to be something in the next 15 years, you need to know where the world is going. And I cannot insist enough. And I like that our conversation has brought us to our next question. So most of us are familiar with the Industrial Revolution we learned in school, where we talked about steam engines, we talked about mechanization of production, the Industrial Revolution that happened in Britain, where there was electricity and all that. But a lot of people don't understand this industrial shift or changes, and especially what it means that we're in the fourth industrial revolution. So if we could really break that down for us, and what the rise of AI means, there's a lot of automation frenzy, what that also means in the world, it would really be a great assistance.
Well, first of all, I was interested. There was someone who's confusing industrial revolution with agrarian revolution. The Mesopotamia, they're two different things. So on industrial revolution, we had the first industrial revolution.
Yeah.
The first industrial revolution involved the steam engine. Mainly it was marked by the steam engine, where we had trains moving on steam engine. We had industries working on steam engines that were fueled by coal. And then the second industrial revolution involved we had the first, that was steam. We had the second industrial revolution that now brought electricity. The age of Thomas Edison, Thomas Edison, and his contribution to electricity. Now that was the age of electricity. That was the second industrial revolution. And we had the third industrial revolution, which was the age of information. We started discovering computers. We started discovering we can make machines do things for us. We can make computers produce information. Then now we're in the last phases of the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is now the smart machines, smartphones, right? Laptops, right? So now that is what defines the fourth industrial revolution. What is now known is up to the fifth industrial revolution, which is believed to be the last, which is now the combination of machines and man. This can be seen, for example, a very good example, Elon Musk's Neuralink. We want to plant chips in our heads. We want to merge with the machines. That's the fifth industrial revolution. It was about a month ago when Meta Zuckerberg launched Smart.
Oh yeah, the metaverse.
Yeah, the smart. You can now have a smartphone. You don't have a smartphone, you can chat. And actually, it's a very deep technology. You use your...
I know. Actually, I think we should, one of the conversations that really young people, especially in this country, are missing out on is the metaverse. Because when you think about things like these PlayStation and games people keep playing online.
Virtual reality.
Yes.
Actually, it's called extended reality.
A whole economy is going to develop there.
Yes.
Like we're talking about the fashion designers who are not designing clothes physically, they're designing clothes within the metaverse and selling them there.
A good example that I think would make sense to us as the Kenyan youths are here, in the fifth industrial revolution, what has been projected is that sherehe haitakuwa hii ya kwenda concerts. There will be virtual concerts. Yes. That you can attend a concert from your home and feel like you're in a real concert. You see what you feel when you wear those virtual reality? They will bring that.
Having that real experience without needing to be there.
That is the fifth industrial revolution. What is interesting about these revolutions is that they are connected in a way. And another thing that is interesting about this industrial revolution is that they are all based on energy. Where does the energy come from? In the first industrial revolution, the energy came from steam.
Yeah.
That was mainly from heated water by coal. In the second industrial revolution, the energy came from electricity. And it is what defined the whole phase, that revolution. In the third industrial revolution, the computers, we started having databases. Right?
Yeah.
We started having databases. We started thinking about how are we going to store data that is going to help these computers. Still energy. In the fourth industrial revolution, right now, there are still some aspects of energy. For instance, still on data, we see people building big data. Actually, you saw Ndindi Nyoro say the other day that we are likely moving into a phase where real estate will be based on building data stores, data houses.
Yeah.
Mega data houses. That is the fourth industrial revolution for you. These texts, these videos, for example, these ones, the energy, where are they going to be stored? How are they going to move in the population? How are they going to be shared? That is energy. In the fifth industrial revolution, what I'm hearing that I've not really done a deep research into is that they're going to use quantum computing to define that energy. That is why if you see today, people are even coming back to talk about local storage of data, so that people want to do away with these big data centers. And the challenge is coming from AI. AI is generating so much data, it needs so much space. And it even affects climate. It's a discussion that's going on. So they're looking for a way to reduce this storage, to have an energy, quantum energy. The fifth industrial revolution is projected to be based on quantum energy. That is what is interesting on quantum energy, nuclear energy. That's the discussion. So I think that's quite a summary for the industrial revolutions. So from this industrial revolution, there are very many talks. There are very many talks, especially approaching the fifth industrial revolution. And in fact, the talks even involve the Bible. People have quoted the Bible. People have quoted Daniel's statue in, is it Daniel chapter 12?
The statue of gold, silver, bronze.
Yes, that statue that King Nebuchadnezzar dreamt about.
Yeah.
It has 5 parts. And in the last part, the 5th part, Daniel says the statue is a mixture of clay and iron. And the Bible says we are created from clay. And most of these metals that we use, most technology is basically driven by metal from the earth. The chips, what we use in the phones, even those chips that are being implanted in the neural, there are things that are mined.
Yeah.
From that Daniel's time, maybe you couldn't specify which metal is this. You could generally refer to them as iron, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very big discussion and a very interesting one.
Actually, something I feel like we've left out is a conversation about some research that is being conducted by Peter Thiel. And something that China did recently when it comes to limiting our aging process, or in a way, we're developing technology by which we want to increase our own lifespans as human beings. And I think something else we can also talk about, or rather you can talk about, is Kenyans are very skeptical about Bill Gates, especially his vaccines, his obsession with population and population reduction. I would really love it if we touch a bit about Peter Thiel and that research, and then we talk about Bill Gates.
These are very sensitive. These are very sensitive discussions. First of all, I'd like to tell you what Peter Thiel is. Peter Thiel is a co-founder of PayPal. He co-founded PayPal with Elon Musk. Yeah. And Peter Thiel is also a co-CEO of a company that is called Plantir. Right? Plantir is an AI company that they are helping the United States to control crime. Yeah? Control crime. And so, if you get into this conversation, you are starting to talk about the globalists. If you think about the globalists, you can't fail to think about Peter Thiel. You can't fail to think about Bill Gates. You can't fail to think about a very influential globalist. Fink, you know Fink, right? Larry Fink. The CEO of BlackRock.
Yes.
And currently the co-chair of World Economic Forum.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he's a co-chair of World
he got that position recently.
Yes, after Schwab stepped down, Klaus Schwab. So, I'm currently reading 2 books. I'm reading George Orwell's 1984.
That is a very controversial book.
And I'm also reading, there's another book that is less known. It is called Transhumanism and the Post-Human Nature, written by Ted Chu. Ted Chu is a professor of economics and politics. It's a very interesting, quite voluminous, but a very interesting book. Ted Chu argues in that book that since human came from the universe, it only makes sense for them to try to get back into the universe. This quote is a very big quote because if you start decoding it, what does it mean that we came from the universe? Scientists, at least in their conscious being, does not believe in the existence of a supernatural being.
Yeah.
They believe that we came from evolution. And how did this evolution came by? One of the scientists who have explained the theory of the evolution to me in a very elaborate way is called Professor Brian Cox. Professor Brian Cox is a professor of quantum physics. He's even gone to a place where it is believed that ions, negative ions and positive ions in water reacted to form the first organism that from where every other living organism evolved. And that is why all of us, on those codes of DNA, you know the codes, the adenine, thymine, they are codes that we share. They are codes that are shared by all organisms as a form of life, right? So, do you know the scientist version of the origin of the world? The Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, the Big Bang Theory.
It was a universal action. That is how we came from the universe. The action started Big Bang, then now from Big Bang, this energy that was retained within the core of the earth is what propelled the ions that reacted to form the first organism. So we came from the universe. So how do you want to go back to this universe? Now that is post-humanism, that is transhumanism. That is what we see in, if we came from the universe, if the earth itself came from the universe and is in the universe, then it means whatever is in the earth is universal. The chips that Elon Musk is planting into people's brain is mined from earth. That is how we are going back to the universe. Right? That's quite an interesting argument. So, these people are coming up with technologies that are geared towards achieving this. And, for example, Bill Gates vaccines. People are skeptical of Bill Gates vaccines. And I'm also skeptical of Bill Gates vaccines. Because there is a video I came across recently where Bill Gates was talking about problems in the world. He talked about wars, he talked about hunger. Interestingly, I thought if Bill Gates talked about wars, he would want peace as a solution so that people live in peace. If he talked about hunger, he would want food so that there is enough food people don't want. Interestingly, Bill Gates argued that when there is war, the healthcare structures are affected in such a way that people now cannot receive vaccinations. He's interested in vaccinations that much.
I think I saw that video.
Yeah. He's interested in vaccination to an extent that instead of thinking of food as a solution to hunger, Bill Gates is sad that people cannot eat for vaccines to work in their body. It's a deep conversation. There is a guy called Dr. Robert Malone. He's a professor actually currently. Professor Robert Malone is credited with the mRNA technology that was used in COVID vaccines. They took that idea and actually currently there is use of nanotechnology in vaccination. Nanotechnology means you can create very little computers that can inject people.
I'm familiar with that.
Dr. Robert Malone discovered something that made him cancelled. It was cancelled from all platforms. He discovered that the COVID vaccine, once injected in the body, this is public information. You can go search for it to find it. Led to microclotting that could not be seen under the normal microscope. Microclotting, most of them around the brain in the lungs. That is why people are just collapsing. Those who receive the vaccination just collapsing. And there is no clear cause of death because these clots cannot be seen under normal microscope. Is this information sensitive? But these are public. If you are a curious leader interested in living, you can live.
that way of thinking, you realize that I started a study last year where I was I've been studying history, the history of the world the last 9 years. And I discovered there's something called hidden history. There's public history, there's the history they give you, then there's the hidden history. Something like how the teacher of Socrates was a woman.
Women were systematically shut out during that time.
Exactly.
It is even said the instance, I guess, came from his wife who left.
Malika Malik. And another very interesting thing is that in the library, the library of Alexandria is being banned. Part of the reason it was banned was because most of its scholars were pagans, and the person at the very top, the director of the library of Alexandria, was a woman. So I discovered all of this information isn't really hidden per se. You visit a local library, you can pretty much find that information, which is in line of what you're saying, that if you're curious enough, you will find this information, and it's all over, especially on YouTube.
Yeah. And mostly you get, look at the research. They don't lie in the research. They never lie. Research, the news can cheat you, the newspapers can cheat you.
Sure.
But they don't lie in research, because it is research that is being used to develop everything.
Yeah.
So if you lie, you're misleading.
Actually,
civilization.
I'll encourage our viewers to take your time to understand, to visit something like Google Scholar once in a while, because you don't, when it comes to reading doesn't just apply to novels or books. You can also look at those research papers. And when it comes to even content interacting with YouTube, I think you've frequently heard him talk about professors and academics, because academics have the data, they have the statistics, they have the proof that is mostly lacking, of course, when it comes to...
They're engaged in research.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that will create a separation between intellectualism for its realness, separate from performative intellectualism, which is what we are seeing going around.
A method I usually use is, do you know conspiracy theories? People say a large information we've talked about here is considered conspiracy theories.
Sure.
I take a conspiracy theory and I try to look at what research says about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that way you get to get to the details.
Sure.
Even basically, I'm trying to prove, is this conspiracy theory wrong or is it right? And in the process, you get to just to know about. It's somehow interesting. It's somehow interesting. It's a good way to pass time for me.
Sure.
And if I find someone who does the same, it usually ends up in a very interesting conversation.
Sure.
Yes.
I'm curious when it comes to the direction as a human race we are taking. Do you think the dream people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk have said with us, where we can begin the process of interplanetary expansion, do you think it can be made possible?
Well,
and if so, do you think it can be made possible if we are thinking from a nationalist perspective? Because my personal view, having a globalized view of humanity will help us get to the next level fast. It is more likely to protect us. Because look at something like, for example, the US and China war. Okay, if you think about is it really good for humanity in general, beyond the politics of this is the United States and this is China?
I do say life is based on perspective. It depends on what you're looking at.
Sure.
There is a perspective which, if you take, most of these things will be beneficial. And I've realized most of these things are sold as beneficial. Yes. And whenever you talk about the bad side of them, you get cancelled from the platforms. They want us to focus on the good side of these things. It is a good thing because everyone will want to live well. Everyone will want to enjoy life. But according to me, I don't think if these technologies are purely meant for human progress. I think these technologies are meant for control. I think these technologies are meant for the protection of the elite in the society. I think globalization is more of control than it is beneficial to human beings. For instance, look at the concept of digital IDs. It is taking traction right now. Countries are developing digital IDs. Even here in Kenya, you've had President Ruto talking about digital IDs. One of the dystopian aspects of digital ID is that the government will be able to control every aspect of your life. Because when you have digital IDs, the rise of digital IDs, and then we will also have the development of blockchain in finance. We have what we call CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. It means at some point we will stop using the cash. It will only be digital money. And all this money will be in your digital ID. When you want to buy anything, you have to use your digital ID to buy. We have digital currency. Then what happens, for example, for an activist who is fighting the government against, for example, when we were fighting for the finance bill, what happens to those who are forefront? They just shut your digital ID, then you can't do anything.
You lose all
You can't do anything. That's beneficial.
It is not. I'm not sure. I felt I need to ask, but are you familiar with H.G. Wells?
No, I'm not.
H.G. Wells is what do I say? Early 1900s, right? A British writer.
No. It's right. I know H.G. Wells.
Yes.
H.G. Wells wrote Time Traveler. I've read Time Traveler.
Yeah. He was something called, he was a Fabian, he was a member of the Fabian Society. And the Fabian Society was opposed to, they were mostly, they were socialists, but their conversation revolved around, these are the challenges that come with capitalism in the future. So H.G. Wells was trying to present, actually he presented, if I'm correct, a view of a future, or rather a dystopian world, where the rich and the very low, the very poor have become different species. I don't know whether you're familiar with that.
It makes sense. Do you know how that would make sense to me? Right now, from the development, I like H.G. Wells. I'm currently reading his book, actually paused a bit, but I started reading his book called The Time Machine. He's talking about a time traveler who travels to the future and then comes back to tell people what the future looks like. That would make sense. The divide between the poor and the rich may be big in the future, and this is my argument. If artificial intelligence is being developed to take you out of your job, where are you going to get your income? If artificial intelligence is going to be an accountant, they're going to be teachers, they're going to be clerks, they're going to be anything that can be done on a computer is going to be done by artificial intelligence. Tell me, everyone is earning their living from the computer right now. And if artificial intelligence is going to replace you in your computer, where are you going to get your income from? It means you're going to be poor. You don't have an income. Who is going to be rich? Those who own these platforms. Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel.
The PayPal mafia. I think
the people who are going to be rich and they're going to be filthy rich.
Yeah.
So the divide may be real. And it also connects to the rise of totalitarianism, dictatorship. Because once you are insecure, you have to protect yourself. You cannot protect yourself if you feel secure. And once you are in a population where you are so rich, yet there are people who are so poor, and the poor are so many, they can rise against you. What do? You control them so that they don't rise against you. That is the model of politics everywhere. And I wonder why we, the youth, are still focusing on tribalism. It is not tribalism. It is the rich. I want to say this clearly because we are approaching 2027 elections. It is the rich against the poor. These politicians are not interested in changing your lives. They're interested in protecting their businesses. They're interested in protecting themselves, protecting their families. Did you see that report? 125 people, richer than the rest 43.3 million of us.
Oh yeah, I saw that report.
Did you see that report?
Yeah, I did.
I did see that report. Have you been keen on the controversies that surrounded the selection of IABC Commission?
Those are good questions.
Are you seeing what is going on in our parliament? Which MP is asking questions, important questions?
Yeah.
The MPs that are asking important questions don't get good media coverage. For instance, an MP who is asking a good question, according to me, who is asking good questions? Questions that if answered, everyone will live well in this country. Is Ndindi Nyoro.
Like,
what media coverage does Ndindi Nyoro have?
I know.
The media is part of it.
Yeah, before the state was born. So, if you're not familiar, before the state was born.
What H.G. Wells says can easily happen. And what is sad is the population is sleeping day by day. I'm a believer. Sadly or happily, I believe. I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in Christianity. I believe Christianity was a tool that was made by the Romans to control the world.
That's very controversial.
It's a very controversial. Maybe we'll have another discussion.
I'm also of a contrary opinion
on this.
Yes.
But I'm a believer. I believe in the Bible. And one of the reasons I believe in the Bible is, despite the many revisions that they've tried to do to that book, somehow that book still achieved what it is supposed to achieve.
True.
It is always said, truth has a way of defending itself. One of my best lawyers in this country is Elisha Ngoy. And in one of his sessions, I do follow his sessions about. I don't think if there is any public session from Elisha Ngoy I've not watched. There is one instance he was talking about cross-examination. He's the best lawyer. He's among the top lawyers in cross-examination in law. And he was saying, the hardest witness to cross-examine is the witness who is saying the truth. Because truth always has a way of defending itself.
True.
If you're saying the truth, you don't need to do a lot. It's just defense. It's the same as...
You can't go deeper. There's no more...
It's the same as the Bible. The Bible is the truth. And it has a way of defending itself. My point on the Bible was, Daniel prophesied this period. Daniel said that in the end days, this is Daniel, I think it is chapter 2. In the end days, there will be not just an increase, but an exponential increase in data, knowledge, intelligence. What do you see?
It's happening today.
Artificial intelligence. What? But from my view, as much as there is an increase in data and knowledge, there is also an increase in ignorance.
True.
There is also an increase in blindness, spiritual blindness, mind blindness, conscious blindness. Because I think we tend to focus, and it is programmed that we focus on things that really don't matter.
True.
Somehow we just focus on things that don't matter. I don't want to appear as if I'm ranting.
Actually, it's so true because and it's affecting everyone in the world, including countries like the United States. Because, like, if you think about it, have you ever noticed the Democrats and the Republicans when it comes to the deeper conversations? Most of the times, those bills are usually passed bipartisan, like it's a bipartisan whatever, a bipartisan move. But now, when it comes to the things that really aren't very deep, and please, women, don't come at me in the comment section. Something like abortion or being gay or straight, they're the ones that publicly usually like, I have a problem with you over this. They're the things they be mostly popular with. That they can distract people from the deeper conversations.
I think I'm not going to comment much on that. I'm just going to refer you to one thing. Then I think we may move to the next question. I'm going to say this. In Rome, whenever there were dissatisfaction among the populations, the empire organized gladiator games as a circus.
Yeah.
And that is happening all over the world. That is happening in the US, that is happening in Kenya. This politics you see here, they never really discuss what. They have a story. They want to give you a story that is interesting to you.
Sure.
They don't want to engage you in a conversation that is going to help you.
Sure.
If you're keen enough, you'll see that everywhere. Yes.
Okay, I'm curious. I'm curious. Let's shift a bit to philosophy. I'm curious, based on how you argued, I just felt the need to ask, even though it's not part of the question. Are you a classical liberal or are you a socialist? Because in a sense, when you speak about freedom, it sounds like it's so classical liberal. Then again, when you talk about the divide between the rich and the poor, it's so socialist.
Interestingly, I'll refer you to where we started our conversation.
Okay.
I'm not really an affiliate of any thought. I believe my thoughts are mine. That is why we were created differently.
Yeah.
There is no one, even your son is not an exact replicate of you.
Sure.
We should have different thoughts. So mostly my thoughts are just mine. I just see things and think about them the way I think about them. I don't affiliate myself to a certain line of thought. When I reason about something, I just put it in context, observe the situation, and then dispense my thought. I like philosophy. There are philosophers that I like. My best.
Please recommend a couple.
My best modern philosopher is Robert Greene. Interestingly, Robert Greene is the author of the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
Robert Greene is largely inspired by Niccolo Machiavelli. Niccolo Machiavelli is a very interesting philosopher. The reason as why I like these philosophers is that
we come back to that.
They are unfiltered. They will tell you the human nature as it is. Yes. So when it comes to philosophy, I do like those. Another philosophy that I do pay attention to, though I have a lot of questions over Stoicism. This philosophy,
Marcus
Aurelius, Epictetus. I think Socrates was somehow there. We have this guy who's written a letter from the Stoics. What is his name? I have the book. I'm just forgetting the name of the author.
Is it Homer?
No. He's a very famous. Anyway, along that line, I usually study Stoicism. Actually, he's the one who makes me question that philosophy of Stoicism. What is this? Is Socrates? No, is it Socrates? Socrates was the senator, right?
No.
Socrates was the senator. Who's the senator? Anyway, that guy was only stoic when he was broke.
It's not Diogenes.
I'll send you the name. Maybe if
it comes up,
yes.
It comes up just
yes. That guy was only stoic when he was broke. But when he was in power and had money, he was not stoic because he used to steal from people. As a senator, he was stealing public resources. A strike should not steal public resources. Because as a strike, you should believe in hard work, earn what you work for. Right? That's a very big pillar of stoicism. Another big pillar of stoicism is respect everyone. You cannot steal from someone respect. Yet, he is one of the biggest thinkers in that philosophy. Right? So, on philosophy, I'm not really deep. I can say I'm deep.
I think one philosopher that we are very much so taught against is Niccolo Machiavelli. And it's mostly because he's portrayed to us as a barbaric approach to leadership. But if you look at the deeper aspects of Niccolo Machiavelli, one thing I like about Niccolo Machiavelli is he argued the intelligent man is the most superior. Because if you look at the prince, him writing the prince, it seems as though he's praising the prince. But really, think about who is really giving the prince the strategy or the approach. It is the intelligent man. So I really borrowed that from Niccolo Machiavelli in the sense of it is far greater to be the intelligent man than to be the prince. Because you don't have a clear view of the playing field.
Well, on the book The Prince, it's a very interesting book. I've read it more than once. The Prince was not meant for communication. Do you know that? Did you know that?
Yeah.
And if you have that outlook, you will know why Niccolo Machiavelli seems to be praising, but yet again advising the prince. That book was more of an application. Do you know Machiavelli was frustrated? His father was against the Medici family that was ruling Florence by that time.
Yeah.
And the moment the Medici family was thrown out of power, Niccolo Machiavelli rised to power as a government advisor. Then the Medici family came back. Then everyone was thrown away. He actually wrote the book The Prince in Exile. He was in exile. So this book was like, he was trying to convince the Medici family that I can be a good advisor. The moment you're applying for a job, you're both praising the company and also trying to prove to the company that you have the know-how to execute whatever you do. That is why the book The Prince was written that way.
So it was a way for him to preach.
He was preaching, he was applying for a job.
Okay.
Yes. But if you look at that book has inspired generations of dictators. That book inspired Napoleon Bonaparte. That book inspired Joseph Stalin. That book inspired Adolf Hitler. And that book still inspired dictators today. Even Ruto, some things he does, you see this direct inspiration from Machiavellian. Though it's not as much Machiavellian from my view.
I agree. I completely agree.
It's not as much Machiavellian.
There are few areas he's really missing.
One instance that I realized, that I pointed out is, one of the things that Machiavelli said is that the prince should not indulge in the private lives of the citizens. You should not touch the private properties of the citizens.
Yeah.
Because automatically that will lead to an uprise.
Yeah.
You know? Do you know the best Machiavellian we've ever had in Kenya?
Moi.
Daniel Moi.
Yeah. I figured.
Best Machiavelli. The best. That is how he maintained power
for 24 years.
Yeah.
I think now that philosophy has become such a deep part of our current where we've got into, I want us to talk a bit about modernist philosophy and postmodernist philosophy. Then maybe you can break down in a very brief manner, what modernist philosophy is and what postmodernist philosophy is. And then how you can explain them in terms of how they're affecting us today, especially as a generation. Because I think our generation is the one that has been most affected by the shift from modernist to postmodernist.
Well, those are buzzwords. Those are quite some vocabulary, but I'll try to
simplify it
from my thought.
Okay.
I think the basis of politics is philosophy. Politics is informed by philosophy and ideas. Actually, philosophy informs ideas, and it is these ideas that are sold out in politics. You know?
Yeah.
So from that base, then we know the impacts of philosophy in the society. Because from politics, we get policies. These policies direct regulations. These regulations impact our lives. They are the ones that say what we should and should not do. You see that connection from philosophy, ideas, politics, to regulation and legislation. So, from my view, this is how it has been evolved, right? There was a time that the best way to, for instance, control the masses was by violence. It was philosophy. The philosophy at that time was fear. Create fear, physical fear, to make people follow what you want. It was all over. We had dictators almost throughout the country. Did you know that Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin almost ruled at the same time? While Hitler was ruling Germany, Stalin was ruling Russia. Those are the worst dictators we've ever had. I'm saying worst because most of the time I think someone like Adolf Hitler is just exaggerated.
I agree.
So someone like Leopold killed more Congolese than Adolf Hitler killed the Jews.
Sure, someone like Pol Pot.
So, and these people, by that time, this philosophy was fear. Create fear, physical fear, to scare the masses. Then we have evolved into manipulation. Manipulate the mass into what you want them to do. Right? To me, that is the modern philosophy. Because today, we have manipulation. And finally, this philosophy, this political philosophy, is inspired by one of the regimes that is considered the worst in the world, the Nazi regime. Manipulation started from the Nazi regime.
True.
Go and read about Joseph Goebbels, who was the information minister for Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Joseph Goebbels.
One common quote we know from Joseph Goebbels is that keep on telling the mass one thing over and over and they believe it as the truth.
Yeah.
That is the role of the media.
Selling propaganda.
Propaganda. If we leave alone the Nazi regime, we come to the democracy regime of America. Purely based on manipulation.
They sell on the idea of freedom.
Sell the ideas.
Perceived.
Look at, do you know the father of propaganda? He's called Edward Bernays. He even has a book written propaganda, titled Propaganda. He lived.
I think I'm familiar with that.
Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays lived in the US in the 20s. And he is the one who came up with the model for business advertisement so that you can make someone buy what they don't want. Manipulate them into buying. Advertise in such a way that is where you know this common thing that Americans usually take. Bacon in the morning and eggs as breakfast. Do you know what Bernays did? Bernays involved 30 doctors and asked them,
I think Robert Greene talked about that.
He could have. And then
I didn't talk about
25 doctors said it is healthy. Then, so Benes' strategy was to advertise for a company. Then he went out and said, 25 doctors out of 30 have proven that it is healthy. Even if you didn't want to take it, you couldn't take it.
And what is so interesting is no one will do a background check.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is that is the modern philosophy manipulation. And interestingly, if you go deeper, Edward Bernays was a nephew, no, cousin to Fred Sigmund. Fred Sigmund was a psychologist who is credited with largely is credited with what today is contained in what is called DMV, diagnostic manual for something. Those who do healthcare know it. It is the one that diagnoses mental health issues. So he took his uncle's experiments and learned propaganda from that. And interestingly, one of the founders of Netflix today is a nephew to Edward Bernays.
Actually,
so you see, this is a sustained manipulation that runs in select families. There are families. If people tell you there are families that control the world, this is how they control the world. The Sigmund family. Sigmund studies people, studies mental diseases. In the process of studying mental health and mental diseases, he learns effectively how the human brain works. From his knowledge, his nephew, Edward Bernays, develops propaganda. From propaganda, the niece developed Netflix that give you the movies. It is psychological program. There are some movies that look at, for instance, the movie The Matrix. Have you watched The Matrix?
I haven't watched it, but I
get watched The Matrix. What is in The Matrix is almost what is happening right now. Yes. Look at movies like The Terminator. Have you watched The Terminator?
Yes.
Yes. And interestingly, the technology in The Terminator is called Skynet technology. That's surveillance technology. And right now, China has a technology that is called Skynet for surveillance.
Oh yeah.
With artificial intelligence.
So it's how they control their...
Yes. So, why am I discussing this? I'm discussing this because you asked me about postmodern philosophy. I think postmodern philosophy is control. You will be controlled. You will be controlled from what you consume. And that is why we have now things like they are developing edible vaccines. There is a paper that was published in Science Direct. Science Direct is a popular journal that was talking about edible vaccines, how they can put vaccines in bananas, they can put vaccines in rice, they can put vaccines in mangoes, in potatoes. And that is why Bill Gates is obsessed with genetically modified food. He's putting vaccines in there for you so that if you don't want to take the injection, you will take it in your food. That is the postmodern philosophy. Control what you consume, what you eat, what you see. Control the thought and control the person.
Sure.
That is the postmodern philosophy, according to how I think.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, that's very unique because I hadn't thought of it like that. But now, finally, young people being a young person such as you are,
yes.
You understand how young people are thinking, you understand their fears, and you understand their dreams.
Yes.
And you understand the skepticism that's around.
Yes.
What would you, in the fewest words, advise young people as far as how they should approach today and the future?
Okay, first and foremost, I would like to say I am really proud of young Kenyans. Have you noted, did you realize that the Gen Z protest was a global affair?
It was.
And it inspired a frenzy of other protests across
The world.
the world. It is the Kenyan Gen Z who first started protesting.
Sure.
What that tells me about us, the young Kenyans, is that we are thinking, we are waking up, we are starting to say, no, these things have been done this way for a long time, and people have suffered.
Yeah.
We need new approaches to things so that we can change our lives. Huh? Why is it that the president is not questioned? He's human beings like us who can question him.
Sure.
The Gen Z of Kenya, the youth of Kenya are so much awake to an extent that, Jordan, today, I may be killed because of my idea. I may be killed because of how I think. But you won't stop the fight.
Sure.
Despite knowing you can be killed, you won't fear.
Yeah.
How many people were killed in protest? And then how many protests were held thereafter?
Sure.
I think we need a platform. Basically, that's my thought. What we need right now as the Kenyan youth is just a platform where we as the youth can start talking meaningfully. We as the youth, if you talk to your fellows, Jordan, you're a Kikuyu, I'm a Luo. This interaction will not happen maybe 50 years ago. And for a long time, they've sold us tribalism. What I do ask is, if you want to sell us tribalism, you want to say, oh, when Kikuyus are in power, Luos are in power, whatever that rubbish. Right now, it's a Kalenjin is in power. How much is sugar in the Rift Valley where Kalenjins live?
The same is here.
How much is sugar?
Same is here. Same is here, man. Same is here.
How much is the rate of unemployment there?
Same is here.
Why? What is the importance of tribalism in politics then? One thing that I appreciate that I can't rubbish is ethnicity, our origin. We must appreciate our origin.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I interact with someone who is not from my tribe, I don't judge them. I'm more interested in, when I was growing up, my culture embraced this one more.
Yeah.
What did your culture embrace? That is my interest.
Yeah.
I do not judge that because you're like what you're like this. No. I'm just in that cultural exchange. That one we should continue with.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. One of the best ways we are going to end tribalism in this country is intercultural exchange. Intermarriages.
Sure.
Yes. So when those kids grow up, my mother is a Kikuyu, my father is a Luo, I'm tribeless, I'm a Kenyan, and now you can't manipulate me. If you want to say that we are Kikuyus, I'm there. I have a Kikuyu blood.
Exactly.
My mother is a Kikuyu. If you want to say Luos, I'm there. I have a Luo blood. So that one now cancels out tribalism in politics. Now let's talk about the real things. Let's talk about taxations. Let's talk about these many deals that Ruto is signing with the globalists. Our healthcare data that he signed with the United States the other day.
Yeah.
I read in the magazine the other day, J.D. Vance was to come to Kenya, by the way.
Yeah.
Last month.
But that rock in whatever, is it inquiry?
Yeah, that mineral. Not only that, actually it was a whole story in the Daily Nation that was saying there are amounts of money that was given to the government for certain things. For instance, there's an amount of money that was given to the government by the United States during the state visit that Ruto went to White House in Biden's regime to reform the police force. Actually, I realized just before Vance came, there was a rise in, we are starting a program on mental health among the police force.
In their buildings, they did this.
They did that.
For police officers.
He was given money to revamp the police force. So he wanted something to show J.D. Vance when Vance was here. From my thinking, I'm just thinking, I really don't know, but as a citizen, with my freedom of thought, I think because the moment J.D. Vance was not coming anymore, I've not heard about those programs anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
These are the things that should be the center of discussion in politics. Kimani Chungwa told us the other day, in broad daylight, what did he say? The finance bill that you rejected, we simply broke it down into pieces and passed it. We passed it as separate acts. Why are we not talking about those things?
When Baba died, their bills they passed. Some of them infringing our security, our internet security.
Yeah, that is classical globalists. Do you know what Schwab said? Don't let a good crisis go to waste. Baba's death was a good crisis for Ruto to pass those punitive bills. So, I am proud of the young people. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you. And I'm proud of you, Gavin. Because we are waking up and we're starting to think in the right way. We are leaving behind tribalism. We are starting to ask about public debt. Where is our debt? What amount? Where is it going to?
We're discussing serious investment, inflation.
We are starting to discuss vaccines. Why is it that actually we frustrated? Look at the way the youth frustrated Adani away. And actually, we're going to read the privatization bill. When there is another Adani, it will go through because of that act. Among the 8 acts that were passed, the privatization act that removes oversight from public, it's just messy. And I think these are the things we should be discussing towards the next elections. The other day, Osoro is majority whip in the parliament.
I think so.
There was a discussion I was holding in BBC, and he had an audience of youths. And youths were asking me very heavy questions. You can go and look at that clip and hear about how these leaders are speaking. This is a majority whip. Do you know the impetus of majority whip in the parliament? And then the majority whip tells us that the problem with the youth is that you don't want to work hard. He is saying that you don't want to work hard. You are blaming the government for everything. And I ask myself, why should the majority whip reason this way? Okay, I want to work hard. Where am I going to work? What am I going to work hard on? Where are the opportunities to work? Give me an opportunity. I'll work hard.
I know.
If you are blocking the opportunities, we are claiming that we are a free market. We are a free market. We are a democracy. But we know that almost all government tenders are given out even before they are publicly announced. Sure. As a youth, if I have a company and I want to bid for a government tender, how am I going to get a tender if it is gotten through connections and I don't have those connections? Corruption. Wanton corruption. These are the things we should be questioning. And finally, you asked me the advice I could give the youth. I'll look into the camera and give them that advice. Stop focusing on the president so much. Focus on your members of parliament. They are your representatives. You've heard Gachagua say it. You heard Gachagua say, Gachagua was complaining the other day about the mountain not being keen on the type of member of parliament they take to the parliament. Members of parliament are mainly in charge of legislation.
Sure.
Legislation shapes laws. Legislation shapes regulation. And that is what directs our markets. That is what determines what we eat. That is what determines how we act. That is what determines employment. How we can start businesses. Freedom, everything. For instance, right now, it will just be said, but if you go, there's a friend of mine, we tried to start a tech company. We wanted to start some tech company. We were frustrated by the government, by the amount of money that is needed. Just, you've not started business, but the amount of money you pay to start a tech company,
it's a lot.
And you're a youth, you don't have any other work.
Yeah, they don't encourage.
So where does Osoro want us to work hard? If when we are looking for those opportunities to work hard, they are frustrating us. And in the legislature, they are not taking any actions to ensure that these opportunities are freely available.
They protect us.
Yes.
And that's their work.
Why are they not talking about the taxes? These bills that women and youth, they're just decorative. If you go to look for things,
there's no
they
debt.
don't really apply. Yeah, so as we go into the next election, congratulations, we've woken up. We now see things as they are. Now focus on the members of parliament. Not to neglect the presidency, it is also important because the buck stops at the head. But if we have smart members of parliament, they will challenge the presidency. They should check the president. They should check the executive. If you have members of parliament who cannot be manipulated with money, if you have members of parliament who cannot be threatened into submission, if you have members of parliament who can actually sit down, read and research and know things where they're
going, know what they're saying,
and try to implement these things, and we have like even 100 of them. Imagine if you had like 100 Ndindi Nyoros.
The country would be somewhere else.
Imagine if you had like 100 Bauko winners. We would be somewhere. So yes, focus on the MPs, and if you're a Gen Z and you believe in yourself, go for it. Be a member of parliament.
Keep it. And let's support them.
Mobilize us. We will give you the funds.
We will
give you the funds you need for. We will campaign for it effectively because we really need to change this.
Tutatoa chwani kwa mfuko tukupatie zikichangwa mingi inakuwa enough.
I think that's what I can say.
Okay. I want to begin by appreciating you for agreeing to do this. I know you're a very busy man. I know you run a very tight schedule, so I don't take that for granted. You're my elder brother. I appreciate you supporting me and supporting my people to be able to do this. And I don't take that for granted. Now, to my audience, I want to begin by saying everything that has been said is my opinion and his opinion. And beyond that, really, it's upon you to think about what we've talked about. It's upon you to really break it down more deeply. There are a number of themes that have gone around. One of them being be very politically aware. Another one is understand what the world is doing. Understand the global shifts. Be very much into reading. Look into research papers. Do as much reading as you can. Accumulate as much knowledge and information as you can. I think another very deep thing that has come up is be aware. Be aware of self. Odili has spoken very much from a point of me and my own confidence and my own understanding. So I think that's also important. Being able to personalize your own growth and understanding that you have your limits and you have the capacity to be able to pursue. And then finally, do not be discouraged. I mean, we cannot sensitize enough on do not be discouraged. Like the world does really seem as though it is burning, but there's still so much you can do. There's still so much you can pursue. And we will encourage you, if you felt watching this video was of any help to you, please comment, please subscribe, please like, share. And especially if you cannot subscribe or like or comment, share, just share. Because we need this information to spread as much as possible. We need people to understand that the world is changing around us. We have a voice, we have a chance to do something about it. Having said that, thank you very much.
My final remarks before I go. Number one, I would also like to appreciate you. As much as I am busy, this is part of my business. I think it's good to voice up. Yes, it's good to voice up. Number two, I will say what I hear people who talk about conspiracy theories usually say at the end of every interview. I'm not planning to kill myself at any time.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we can end it. Thank you very much.